Hi everybody. I'm Tarin, an executive from the Professional Development Club. So I guess I can start the session. What do you say, Maisha? We can start now, right? Because it's
Yes, we
already
can start
7.
the session.
Yes, yes. And we also start the recording.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, before that, I can say something about like starting the session. So yeah,
Yeah,
first of
sure.
all, thank you so much everyone for joining our session. And we are from PDC. It's a graduate student club, and we are mainly helping students for their building their career. And we have like many students from different departments, like from chemical engineering, civil, mechanical, then electrical and computer engineering, and all of it. And as we know, like in Ontario, there are some certain departments, like from civil engineering, and also from some departments, they actually need the PhD degree. So from our students, we are really interested to know, like, how can we get the PhD degree, and also for the Ontario province. So here's the main purpose for our today's session. Oh, first of all, I'm sorry for my side, like not being able to turn on my camera. I'm a bit sick today, got cold. So yeah, Larin, she is our CDC team executive. She will moderate the session. And I'm Maisha Farzana. I'm the current president for the Professional Development Club. And I also work with Professor Sausan. I'm her TA as well. So I got all of your information from Professor Sausan, and also from PDC member, like last semester from our club. Some of the members helped you in the PEO event as well. So we got to know about you. And yeah, the floor is yours. I would pass the microphone to Tari. She will moderate the session today, and we can start the session. Thank you all.
So before starting this session, I'd like to introduce with our guest speakers. So first of all, we have Sana Abou-Shaaban. So am I correctly pronouncing your name right?
Great. Yeah, it was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'll tell a little bit description about Sana. Okay, so she is a distinguished professional engineer and a certified Scrum Master, and currently leading as the environmental policy and planning manager at the Government of Canada. And with a background in biomedical and electrical engineering, Sana is a dedicated advocate for women in tech. She is recognized globally for her impactful initiatives and leadership roles in engineering and IT. As a chair of Professional Engineers Ontario Ottawa chapter and a member of the IEEE Communication Society Board, Sana brings a wealth of experience and a passion for diversity and inclusion to the forefront. So we are welcoming you, Sana, in this event. And now I'd like to introduce with Joseph Podrebarac. Am I right, Joseph?
You're not going to be the last person to mispresent that, but it's okay.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
So
Okay.
I don't know if you can see me or not, but yeah, okay. Name is
Yeah,
Joe Podrebarac. I'm the chair of
Podrebarac.
the Ottawa
Okay.
chapter right now. And thank you
Yeah.
for inviting us. I've worked with Sausan for a number of years on her programs. It's
Yeah.
been a delight because I think it's important, as I've been a professional engineer since 1986, to see what's going on in the world. And even though I thought when I was young I had it all right, I learned, and I'm here to learn again from that. So professionally, I work at the Department of National Defense. I'm the
Yeah.
principal engineer for underwater sensors, weapons, and naval mine countermeasures. I've had my background is fluid mechanics. So I did a lot of hull structure design, simulated nuclear testing, in the white sands. So I got a lot of engineering stuff, but I've also been playing, and we'll talk about that more today, in the soft skills and arts that we all need to these days. I was on the board of directors with the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada, negotiating contracts and explaining to lay people what engineers do. I think it's one of the things we always forget. We talk in technical terms and we get frustrated. People don't understand us. So I was looking at the questions that Sana sent me for tonight, some of them, and to me it's like, yep, they're good questions, and it shows that we got to do a lot of work to help
Yeah.
people understand better, and that's what I'm looking forward to participating. So thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah.
Over.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Okay. So now I'd like to introduce with Ishwar Bhatia. So is it right? Yeah. Okay. So he's a seasoned project manager and a chair of the government liaison program at the Ottawa chapter at Professional Engineers Ontario, with nearly 14 years of dedicated service, and his profound impact on municipal infrastructure engineering is underscored by his expertise in sewerage systems, water plants, highway constructions, and traffic coordinations, by demonstrating a keen focus on achieving value for money. And Mr. Bhatia's leadership is marked by effective management of consultants, contractors, and stakeholders, setting him apart as a stalwart in this field. So we welcome you, Ishwar Bhatia. So by this, we can start our session. Our guest speaker can talk about the PEO, what is PEO, and how we the engineers can get the professional engineer certificates. So we can start now, and uh, yeah, we can start from Sana, and then Joseph, and then Ishwar Bhatia. Yeah, we can go right this way. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, for the first question you said?
What is PEO, the Professional Engineers and Ontario, and what the PEO like helping the students to get their professional engineers degree, and how the students can take preparation from this academic life to get the professional engineers degree. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can give a very brief outline in interest of time, obviously, and pass it on to my fellow panelists on the call. So
Yes, yes.
PEO is Professional Engineering Ontario, as a lot of you are aware. It's an engineering regulatory body. The whole point of it is to protect the public, to ensure that ethically, we're engineers are getting their calculations right, they're getting the job right, they're stamping on things that need to be stamped on, that are assuring that the work that is done, the design that is done, will protect the public and cause no harm. A lot comes out of it. It's not just a stamp or a certificate to put on the wall. Obviously, a lot of jobs these days do require professional engineers to look at designs, verify designs, and design things from scratch. A lot of opportunities come out of PEO, such as networking, building connections, to find your next role within a different within a department or a company. And in addition to attending workshops, career development, professional development, a lot that can come out of it itself. So it's not just about a regulatory body. It's also a big networking aspect to it as well. In terms of undergrad, I think I'm not sure if that's still the case, and Joe could correct me. A lot of for graduate students, that, from going from undergrad to grad school, I think they do have an advantage, which is when they apply, 1 year, I think, is counted from the grad school as an experience as well. And Joe, you can probably clarify that, but that's also an advantage that a lot of you have, those who are in grad school, that people who go directly into the workforce really don't necessarily have. So usually it's 4 years of experience, and 1 year reporting directly to a professional engineer. And for people in grad school, out of the four, one could be counted as one, and then the remaining three must be from the workforce. So with that, I can pass it on to Joe or Ishwar to add more and let me know if I made any mistakes.
No, you're doing very well. But I
Yes.
think one of the basic terminology is when Sana said regulatory. So there's actually three organizations that you'll find if you search in Ottawa. Engineers Canada is an office on Elgin Street. They're responsible for looking across all the provinces across Canada, so she to be transferred, and also looking at the admissibility and eligibility of foreign trained degrees where there's no equivalency, and they assess the candidate for that. That's what their importance is. Engineers Canada is different from Ontario Society of Professional Engineers. They're the advocacy guys. They're the ones that go out and preach to people and to politicians the importance of engineering and engineers, so that the lawmakers can understand and actually ask engineers for their input during critical things. And it's the Professional Engineers Ontario, like in every province, is an association that issues the license. It's like a driver's license. It's a certificate, and they call it self-regulatory. They decide what rules you have to follow and when you're permitted on that. If you'd like, I send you later so you can read it on your own. I share a fact sheet. I don't know if you see this. This is a simple 2-pager which will tell you in words what PEO is and all the acts that they require. So it's if I stop share or not. Okay, sure. Anyway, so that's what I'll send you. The question you said about the eligibility, in 2023, a new thing called the FARPACTA, which is the fair, it's a trade agreement that basically doesn't require a year of Canadian experience to be eligible, but at the same time it removed engineers in training designation, which is what was called EIT. So in essence, an undergraduate and a graduate could register with PEO, pay a nominal fee of, let's say, $60 a year, and be on the books with a number of an engineer in training. That's no longer there. So it was going to, and we'll talk about that more later, required to show up with your 4 years of experience in your application. And that's what we got to talk about tonight, is how do you prepare for that from the beginning. So hopefully that answers that. Over to Ishwar.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. I think you covered quite a bit, and Sana. I was a former counselor of professional engineers for 10 years, elected and appointed. And I served on several committees, and I learned a lot through the discipline committee, the law, which governs our act. And I want to just get back to you what PEO is. We have two main things which we regulate. One is the safety, and the second one is competency. Now, under competency, you have code of ethics as well, right? And the cases that I dealt with, about 36 cases, all of them had the issue of professional engineer was not competent. In other words, he was not qualified. Other times, he broke the code of ethics, which is honesty, billings and invoices and not doing things. Now, frustration that I found in the licensing, the issue was not so much on the fairness commissioner that we had to change the whole system so quick. It was our application were not being processed in a timely fashion for the new entrants. And they created an ARC, which is called Academic Review Committee. And it was created to differentiate between the foreign graduates and the local graduates. The local graduates come through Canadian accreditation program through Engineers Canada. And moment they see an application from Middle East or foreign country other than Canadian, what they will do is they go to experience review committee and they ascertain your academic and experience. A lot of frustration, so many applications, and things were not being done. So Fairness Commissioner gave a warning to our registrar um, about 15 years ago. And they said, look, fix up or else. They didn't fix it up for 10 years. He then came strong, he and she, there were some ladies once in a while. They will come to their council, observe the council meeting in camera, and they said, you haven't delivered. And this is why this extreme measure came. It didn't have to, but it did. And now we went through 2 years experience. If you have a post degree qualification, you get 1 year. I went through the 1 year because I had a Master of Engineering. Then they went to 4 years. Then they said, do you know the 2 years is better than 4? Demonstrate. We went through all of that. Then they made 6 years. One of them, you should have one of them in Canada. Now back to 4 years, as long as you report to a professional engineer. So there are a lot of issues coming up. And I would say, never give up your engineering. There are many foreign graduates. I'm Indian from India. I came in 1970 to Dalhousie. And I know many people are driving taxis, beautiful people. They're done good in the civil life, other than engineering. But never give up your goals. Be persuasive and talk to your own colleagues and friends like me, Joe, Sana. We're all from different backgrounds and will be very helpful. My son, they're all born. I have 3 boys. They're all born here. They had not an issue because they go through Canadian accreditation program. Their application comes in, next day it goes to experience review committee. So they're all professional. So what else you said? PEO licensing. Licensing is a big deal. Many people have been terminated, deputy commissioners and all that. But never give up and stay tuned and keep your emails because staff changes so frequently at the headquarters. So always keep a printed copy. I know you guys are high techies, but make a print of whatever you got to keep a file because they will make you start over and over again. All right. I share your frustration, but ask me how you can expedite, answer their questions. When it comes to experience, one other thing I noticed, and I help few foreign graduates, that we do not demonstrate our theoretical things that we learn at the school, 3rd year, 4th year, final year. There's a diagram you got to attach. You got to even make a video. You have to give 6, 7 pages of solutions. How would you demonstrate on the site? Professional engineer, try to report to directly or indirectly to a professional engineer in your company. If you don't have an engineer, you're wasting time, right? Find a company which has even a certified technologist turned professional engineer. There are lots of them. So those are the things that I can mention to you. All right. Anything else you want to know? Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of question. From like your expertise, we want to learn many things. So thank you for we now we know about PEO a little bit. So um, I can ask you a question it's from my question from my side uh, like your from your experience, what advice would you offer to like graduate students like us aspiring to attain a professional engineer designations, and are there any type of specific resources or mentorship programs that we should be aware of? Are there any?
Right. There is a organization called OSPI, which is our sister organization. It's not a regulating body. And they
Mhm.
used to carry a lot of professional development courses. They charge you a fee. I think it's worth it sometime. If you're a local
Okay.
graduate, you don't need them. I find that if you're a foreign graduate, it's good to have them, spend that money. Um, Other thing is never give up your correspondence with the headquarters. Take it very seriously. Somebody else comes up, as I said before, uh, stay tuned, have your file ready and be able to say reference to this, reference to this. And that's where I find many students give up halfway, coming from Dubai and Bahrain and all that stuff. They had a lot of experience there in construction, but they don't follow up, and they say, "Oh, it was 3 years ago." They say, start all over again. All right. So stay tuned
Yeah.
and talk to the
So,
recent P.Engs, who got the licenses recently. They are in the best position, Joe, I think,
well, the thing is that
especially.
like to get down to human aspects. Why do you want a license? You know, the question
Oh,
is, it's an extension of your persona, of who you are, because you wanted to
Yeah.
do applied science. That it's in your blood. You wanted that. So it's a kind of an
Mm,
affirmation of that. Number two is when you go looking for a job, it'll
mm,
allow you to have access to jobs require sign
mm.
off. And then
Yeah.
number three is it'll also get you better pay. I'm being a capitalist here. You spend a lot of effort, a lot of your life, a lot of your money. You got to get something back out of it. And OSPI, the organization, does a survey every year, and there's pay scales depending on the various types of experience levels, from what they call it A to F. So based upon a number of years experience and kind of the range, and also within the industry. So it's good to that's why you want the license aspect of it all.
Yes.
You know.
Right. So from our chat, one student asked, like, can she has the name or link of that organization you mentioned, like Mr. Bhatia
yeah,
mentioned about
yeah,
the
it's very simple.
organization.
You can Google it actually. OSPE, OSPE, Ontario
OSPI. Yeah.
Society of Professional Engineers.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
What we
Mm.
could do is in this participation today, the questions come up on how do I get licensed, and it's not as we're volunteers, myself, Sana, and Ishwar, and there's a dozen people chapter, but there's actually staff in Toronto who are sole purpose are vetting this, and they can come and we can do a virtual presentation and Q&A on the actual application you do, the interest
Mhm.
stuff. We could also do a presentation co-chaired with OSPI, because there's an Ottawa representative, to explain more what they do and the professional practice exams and preparations that they provide. So instead of just going on a web search, maybe have
Yeah.
some reality, and we could do it on
Mm.
a quarterly basis, because you can't make it at every meeting. You're busy, you got lives, and if we do it, make a note of that. I think. What do you think, Santa? Would that?
Agreed.
Because
Yeah.
Santa runs a mentorship program of sorts called the DEI committee, which is Diversity, Equity, Inclusivity Committee, in which it helps people understand what the process is. Because in my work, I found out even people talk English is not the same English. Um,
Yeah.
a phrase that we take just casual in Canada, we go, what does that mean? Like the term annual general meeting. Like, what does that mean? A delegate, you know, so it's better to have a face to face, and the more times you hear it, the more it'll stick. That's what I find. It's just like a slicing, a 10% slice, like an onion. You're unwrapping it till you actually get to the part that makes you cry. so,
Yeah.
so I think I'll make a note of that, Sana. We can work
Mhm.
on that. Thanks.
And I think for my answer for that
Mm.
question, the
Mm.
original question, I know we went a little off tangent to different questions here, but I think for graduate students that are aspiring to get the P.Eng, my advice would be to
Mm.
start familiarizing. It's never too early to start familiarizing
Mm.
yourself with the requirements that are outlined by PEO. Um, make sure that they understand that the academic requirements, make sure that they have the right experience
Mm.
prerequisites, as well
Mm.
as the examination process. Definitely networking with the current professional engineers does help. We've all been through it. We all can provide advice and in ways that
Mm.
we show different ways that we've got our P.Eng. A lot of people can relate. For example, my background, even though I did electrical and biomedical engineering, I've worked in software or computer systems or IT the majority of my career. So, which I couldn't find a lot of professional engineers, but yet I could also give that advice to people who are in the same who are in the same shoes who are going through that, and provide them with ways that they can obtain that license. So networking is key. People can provide valuable insights all the time, and as Joe mentioned, definitely networking, opportunities are important as well. For my committee, I started the mentorship opportunities, but it's still a pilot. But definitely take part in any mentorship networking events as much as you can, and you would be shocked how much you can learn from everybody that you meet. And PEO also offers a lot of various resources, including study materials, I think, for the professional practice examination, and as well as access to a lot of professional development events. You know, our Ottawa chapter does a lot of events that we kind of send an email out to people who are registered, part of our mailing list. So yeah, take part in these events, learn, ask questions. Don't be afraid. Everybody's been in the same spot once upon a time. So you know, just definitely reach out for help when needed.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So there is another question. As a student, we get cost-free membership with OSPI, and how can we efficiently utilize this membership that can help us attain the P.Eng certification later in a convenient manner?
That should be Joe or Ishwar question.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was on the email with Mesha.
Okay.
You're saying that
One job at a time, Ishwar.
yeah, no. No, she was saying, why did you put a link on something? And I said, no. So you're saying, what good is the fees that you have to pay as a member, student member?
No, the question
Student
in the
can
chat
get,
is, OSPI now gives free memberships to
yeah,
Okay.
students.
yeah.
They actually
Okay.
show up at the campus and say, come on, be part of OSPI. People don't realize
Mm.
it's not going to get you a
Okay.
license. It's going to get you
Right.
visibility. So one
Yeah.
of the shortcomings of PEO is they don't give free licenses. And up until 2023, you were an engineer in training for a reduced fee on registered. That's a good question, is how do we, how do you become a member without being an EIT is the real question here.
Right.
And I think it's the networking through professional engineers, through the engineering society at the campus and through the professors, because we've got at University of Ottawa and at Carleton, lead professors giving us a series of talks this year on artificial intelligence research that's going on. And I think through that avenue, we'll have to work out some way of getting that, not really a membership, but connection to our organization. So you don't have to, my biggest fear is you get your degree, you go looking for a job, and the first thing you got to do is you got to do 4 years of experience, but you don't know. And then you do 4 years and you find out, geez, I was a project manager for 2 years and it's not eligible anymore. It might take me a little bit longer. I might have to have different aspects within the company or the organization or my own startup, for instance, is how do I get a mentor? The questions you should ask when you start, as Sana said, not at the end when time passes very quickly. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's no free lunch. I agree with Joe. In finding a job, there's so many graduates coming out. There's so many consulting firms and government jobs, right? So where do you find a good job? And I would say, even like my son, he's 39. He's with the federal government now, and he did work with a construction company in Ottawa. They have been acquired by bigger companies. So sometimes don't be shy to join a construction company until you find a good designing experience, right? And that experience, Canadian,
Yeah.
is counted as long as you're reporting to a professional engineer.
Mm.
And later on, when the time comes to get a P.Eng, then, as I said, is a process of application, how to write your application, and your supervisor should be helping you. So where to find a job without paying any professional development fee? Um, if you can get some courses done online and so on, and you just spend some time, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. There's no end to learning, right? Professional
Yes.
development courses, yeah. Okay,
So
so
one
on
student raises hand. Uh,
sorry.
Hafiz, you can ask your question.
Thank you, everyone. And first of all, I really thankful for your time and support for us. And it's wonderful experience to talk with you guys. Uh,
Mhm.
Actually, I have a question. Right now, I am doing master in environmental engineering, but I do have 5 years of experience uh, in Saudi Aramco, and then I came here. So I actually contacted to professional engineers in Ontario and asked them that I want to register with them. They said that everything okay, and I have to take for technical exams and just and then actually I don't know that from where I need to prepare this one. And one more thing, that before coming to Canada I get registered with Saskatchewan APEGS as a engineering and training. So this engineering and training from Saskatchewan can help me to get P.Eng with the PEO. And my third question is that is there any way I have to self-study, or I have, is there any guidance so that actually I want to complete my registration while I am doing my master in environmental engineering so that I can save some time. So this is my question. I will be thankful to you for answering this one.
Yeah, I can answer part of it. I would say, first of all, you should uh, go to the Department of Licensing, and the new director is our deputy licensing commissioner is Mr. Jose. I know him quite well. Uh, and you can send him an email, all right, about your direct questions. He's very helpful. He was a policy director before. On the technical exam, very often what happens is when your application is declined or not considered pleasantly the way you want at the academic review committee, ARC committee, it goes to experience review committee, and they would then give you the option. You want to challenge us, you got to feel confident, right? And the panel is created of 3 or 5 people, and they will rule on this. Or you can take, simply they will suggest to you a couple of technical exam, and I would say you should take those uh, syllabus at the Ottawa U or Carleton somewhere, or any other university, and complete those credits. This will really help you to write your technical exam, and plus it'll give you some credit. For the post engineering degree, I'm also a water resources environmental guy, master of engineering from Dalhousie. I got 1 year off, and I think you will probably get 1 year off even now for the master's degree, but you must complete it. Uh, Many a times foreign graduates, they give up halfway through, so you didn't get a benefit of the master's degree because you didn't complete it, and you sort of wasted time. So complete it, never give up, take the technical exam and ask them what technical exam and why. I mean, in a friendly way. And they really mean good to you, right? You don't want to challenge them. You say, okay, I'll take these 2 exam and become better, right? Taking
I'd like
exam is a better thing. What do
I'd
you
like to
think,
make
Joe?
a more pointed response. If you're already an EIT in Saskatchewan, why not complete the program in Saskatchewan and then ask for a transfer to Ontario where you work? Because I'm a civilian, but I work with military, and they move across Canada. So they have a Nova Scotia license. They move to British Columbia, then Ontario. So if you're already an EIT, I would pursue that because you already got your leg in and complete that. And I just was online here, looked up what are the requirements. It might be as difficult, maybe easier, maybe more than the PEO one. I would work with them as a suggestion, and then do the transfer over.
Yeah, can I actually, sorry, I'm taking your time. Actually, when I contacted with PEO, they said that if you are engineering in training in Saskatchewan, unless you will get P.Eng in Saskatchewan, there will be no benefit of this one.
And that's what I
So,
said, become a P.Eng in Saskatchewan, then move over. Not as
but
an EIT.
yes. So to get P.Eng in Saskatchewan, I need some experience, basically in Canada. Then I can be a P.Eng in Saskatchewan. So is there any other easy way that I can utilize my how can I get my Canadian experience without because I am not in Saskatchewan. In Saskatchewan, I will be able to work because I am already engineering in training. Okay, I have registration with them. I have lessons. Basically, I am authorized to work in Saskatchewan, but I am not authorized to work here. So how can I utilize? How can I get experience? And this is actually a real challenge. This is very easy way, and I really appreciate that. This is good actually tip for me. I am also thinking on that one, but I am not finding a way to get P.Eng in Saskatchewan. So is there any tip on that one?
Well, we're starting to get into personal details. I think for the forum we're in now, it's something we should take separately, you think? Because it's an interesting topic, but we're going to now get into the details of your case. I don't know if you want to share that. So over to the
Yeah,
moderator.
yeah. Can I talk to you later on? Or actually, I
Sure.
need some personal advice on this one. I want to. I don't want to take exams unnecessarily because I am also taking 3 courses at Ottawa. I want to finish my program as early. So I want to. I can contact with you guys just for personal
Sure.
advice.
Okay, we can work because we have contacts in Engineers Canada, which I would use to provide info as well. So, okay.
Yeah, is there any contact details for how can I contact you guys?
Well, through your chair there, she has our email and get it to us.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank
yep,
you. Thank you.
yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Hafiz, for your question. Now, Akinje, you can ask.
Thank you, Tarin. Good evening to all the panelists. Thank you for your time for answering our questions. This is a question to all the panelists. Personally, I'm an international student who came here to Ottawa in last year to do my master's engineering degree. However, I also have an inclination towards the research side, and eventually I may be thinking of switching to a thesis-based course as well. Even if that does not happen, I will still be working towards my inclination research side. So I wanted to ask, in the professional expertise of all the panelists, is there a way for a student in like me who can create a sort of a marriage with this P.Eng license and my research experience, or at least research inclination later in my career?
Right. Tareen, I can answer a little bit.
Okay.
On the research, we had one case, and in fact, I helped the gentleman, and he's in Saudi Arabia, pilot, great guy. He was in Ottawa doing masters like you. He was also doing PhD courses. And then he was doing a lot of research work. In the end, to make it short, we converted his research into practical applications. He was working indirectly with Tomlinson, the local big construction company. They're part of LRT on infrastructure. And the grant was coming from Carleton University. Professor had money. The company didn't want to give him money. So he got experience with the construction company. The money came from Carleton, like a scholarship type. And his application was being refused. And I know he worked in the asphalt field, performance grade asphalt, which I had some expertise. So we challenged that to the panel in Toronto, and we won. And the reason we won is that the experience is experience, right? Whether you do research, you have a grant from XYZ, then you're doing practical application, you should get it. But these are the frustrations sometimes you have, and you don't know what to do about it, right? There are not many people hire lawyers on that. It's like somebody like us who can guide you, who has been sitting on these committees. So OSPE is at one time I liked a sister organization because they were giving professional courses, not as much anymore. So your research, you want to talk to me later on? I can give you some detail about how to turn your research work into practical applications and get a P.Eng license. Okay.
Well, we got to talk about the reality of what a license is, because it is a requirement to do work, to do engineering to the public, and that ensures public safety. So if you're trying to relate research, it's not related to applying science or knowledge, and it doesn't have to do with safety. So it's really hard pressed to say pure research, even on an engineering side, will be equivalent to experience. Experience is now I've got all the training, I'm going out, I'm doing the work. And you're being watched by someone who has more time in to make sure you understand what's going on. So you got to be careful on the research aspect. It will not. Will it be admissible? Probably not. In some cases, you got to be prepared for that reality, and that's when you look for a job selection. I know a lot of people who are P.Engs and never practiced engineering in their life because they got a job in finance or something. It can change. It can change. You might become an academic, but we encourage all, and that's why the work experience is important. I think what Ishwar is getting to is even part of your research, if you're doing a postdoctorate of some sort and doing work for a company, that level of effort is different from pure research while at the university. That distinction.
Right. No, in this particular case, it was a construction, asphalt construction, which is civil engineering. But the professor was using his data into his research paper. So it met both purposes. He got his PhD as well, he got his P.Eng. But each case is different. I'm not saying, I'm not encouraging that at all, okay? But in exceptional cases, one can then say, I'm doing this research, there are engineering applications, whom do I report to? What, for example, my thesis supervisor at master level, he was not a PhD, he was only M engineering himself, and he was producing a lot of M engineers. Don Waller, he became Dr. Don Waller in Dalhousie, and his research papers were not very practical, but practical enough to get a engineering license. So there is a bit of a cutoff, Joe. I'm not saying research, I'm not leading into that, but it all in exceptional cases one can look at each case by case. We don't encourage that, but okay. All right. What else you got?
Okay. Thank you, Akinji, for your question. So, yeah. Sumant, you can ask your question.
Hi, nice talking to you guys. You are giving a good suggestion and advice. So when you are speaking about the research, I am a MASc student in environmental engineering, doing my thesis on developing a passive filter for polishing municipal lagoon lab and field scale study. So I'll be defending my thesis in this winter or maybe summer. Also, I'm working as an assistant project manager trainee in Aqua, Ontario Clean Water Agency. So when I was looking for an P engineering application, there was an requirement of it is considered for undergraduate. So master graduate will not be considered for P engineering. So the course, that's what I understood. So I thought of my undergraduation is under chemical engineering. So the subjects I should take from chemical engineering, or I should take the subjects related to environmental engineering for the exam. That's my question.
Well, Joe, you want to try that, or Sana? I mean, I can bring it later or something.
You're getting into the details. I think that what the headquarters person who actually looks at the registration and the application will be giving you advice. We give you opinions, but I wouldn't want to say that it'll be satisfactory. We're not the ones who are saying yes or no, or here's what you have to do. So it's really, I think we'll have to get in touch with, get you in touch with the person that can help you with that. And I think that's what I was talking about, the quarterly presentations on licensure. is that where you can ask this kind of like, who do I get in touch with and how do I, sharpen my application?
Yeah, I think, Joe, if I can add a couple of lines here, there's a staff function, but generally staff deal with the clerical applications. Okay, they handle the paper. Eventually, these are professional engineers who are on the panels and committee, licensing committee. It may not be a bad idea to ask Julie or somebody to bring the chair of the license committee or assistant vice chair or whatever who sit on these panels, because they're the one who really decide your fate, isn't it? And they direct the staff what to look for. So Julie Hamilton is still our manager of chapters, I think, eh? And she's our contact, and through her we can arrange something about licensing staff and the P engineers sitting on the committee to answer some of these questions. Okay, so you can try writing emails to them as much you can get an answer and see where you stand.
If I can add, when I did my application, which was not actually too long ago, I had experiences from different sorts of engineering sides. So I had biomedical experiences, I had software, I had IT, and at the end of the day, when you look at my application, it's a mix of experiences. And right now I work in environment, right? So it's at the end of the day, they look at what engineering work have you done? Irrelevant of what it is, what kind of engineering. So if you could explain the engineering aspect, the work that you've done, even if it's project management, I mean, they're not really in favor of project management. They want more of the design, the actual engineering work. But anything you can explain out of any job that you have, any study that you've done is okay. It's not about what your degree is, it's about your experience. And it's sometimes not about what kind of experience it is. It's as long as it's, it's engineering. So you can mix and match or have all 4 years be the same kind of engineering style of like if it's all software or environmental, mechanical, or so it's I wouldn't really worry too much about that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. I got a clear picture how to deal with this. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no worries.
So now I have a question. Like I'm doing my master's in biomedical engineering at U Ottawa. So uh, I have previously experience in my country. I'm from Bangladesh, so I have 2.5 years of experience in the medical device manufacturing industry. And now my question is, does this experience count towards the PN certification requirements? And if it counts, so like what aspects of my experience should I highlight about like in this process?
Definitely, experiences outside of Canada always count. I think this is what you're looking for, right? To know if anything outside.
Yeah.
We used to have the requirement, as I think Joe or Ishwar, I apologize, one of you brought up the idea that there's no more engineers in training, and
Yeah.
also they removed the aspect of having 1 year of a must to work in Canada. Now all international experience is taken into account for the applications, and therefore again, it doesn't matter what you did. I know you did biomedical, but even if you didn't work in biomedical, you worked in electrical, for example, as long as you highlight the engineering aspect in your application, that's key. The design aspect, what have you done? How did you problem? This is what they look for, right? Obviously, it's a bonus if you worked in biomedical, and since you're a biomedical engineer, but to get the license, that's what you need. So,
Sana, if I can add a little bit on that as well, agreeing with what you're saying. First thing I think we should introduce you to the template, the application of licensing, whether you're in first year, third year, and go through that application and maybe convert the PDF into Word document, okay? And all those paragraphs, see what you can write on your own, right? And then have a person like Sana, who went through licensing a few years ago herself, how you can make it better and what you're missing. So two things will come up: how to write an application. I'm not saying play a trick on them. They're very smart. Okay, you have to prove your work, where, how, where.
Yeah.
But you will be able to then demonstrate. What they're asking is, show me in demonstration what you learned in the colleges and universities, overseas or here, that it will make us safe. There are two things. I know we exist as a regulator to make the public safe, right? It's all in medical profession, nursing, lawyers. So you have to demonstrate that I constructed something, I designed something,
Yeah.
and here's the application. Make a diagram. Will that fly? They want more examples, not just one. So if you have biomedical first year, third year, second, accumulate all of that, and then make sure it'll force you under whom, the name of the professor, first and last name, his address. Is he still living? Where does he live? Can they make a phone call and he will say hello? So you have to do all of that work in the background. So it just dawned on me that it's not a bad idea to go through the application itself, and it'll open up, give you some answers to your questions. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely will
Uh,
check. They definitely will check your references. So after you leave a job, make sure you have your
yeah.
supervisor's personal email address or anything, because they might leave, right? So this is something a lot of people go through, where they have to
Yeah.
find what happened to their supervisors because they're not responding and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, Ishwar, good point.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
many a times, as a foreign graduate, we kind of write too much, which is not relevant, and not trying to disrespect anybody, because I'm also one of the guys from that school, right? I did my
Yeah.
bachelor's in India, but sometimes we write too much, and what they want is to the point, who you are, from and to, timelines, academic experience, where, how, what. But application is the main thing, but write the factual information, because we encourage honesty, the actual stuff. And the difficulty for you guys is how to convert that into experience. It's not easy. And keep on working for some professional engineer, some company which hires professionals.
Yeah. Is
Okay.
there any resources or guidance video or any document like how to improve our application writing?
I'm sure if you
So
approach by email to Mr. Jose, who's the director of
Mr. Host.
licensing, he was a policy director. He knows so much. I know I have a lot of regards for him, and you
Yeah.
should directly write to him. And this is my
Mm,
situation. This is what I'm looking for,
mm.
and they will come up with some professional development videos for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I
You
have
have to put,
another question like,
Yeah.
is it possible like the students can get involved to any type of innovative projects or can contribute to any type of projects within PEO? Is it possible?
Mm, I would say that the work with the PEO is not so much towards the design work. That's what you need mostly, the 3 R's, right? The real, and you will have to go through some big construction companies where they have some design element. Some of the big construction company or consulting firm like WSP and EXP, the big companies, and they have pockets of construction, project management, design, auditing, and so on. So try the big companies, go on the websites, be on the LinkedIn, um, try to make connections with the HR. So it's basically when you apply for a license at the P.Eng, think of the same thing applying to a company. So this is what I got. I want to get
Yeah.
more insight, and how can you help me, right?
um,
So yeah.
Joe, I know you want to say something. I'll add something at the end. You can go ahead.
yeah, there's more to it than that. In that Professional Engineers of Ontario has various types of committees which are geared towards supporting universities, entrepreneurship, innovation, because the reality of where we are today is a person does not work their whole career at one company and get a gold watch at the end. The old traditional way, you'll be moving from place to place, honing your skills, following demands, following opportunities, 3 to 5 years. And so being part of the PEO structure is you're able to see how the linkages with the universities are and the profession. And that, I think, because a lot of it's not knowing. And that's the problem. You can't be told, you have to live it. And I think that's the best way is to live that opportunity. And you see that call for volunteers. You don't want to be part of the council or the board of directors there because they're going to talk about finance, HR things, pension plans for staff. Yeah, you might not be interested. You might be, who knows? But I remember linking with McMaster University where I went to, and they have a place called The Forge, and these like these micro, businesses where you boutique engineer something for a company and get yourself started. And that's kind of, you realize, wow, I think there is one at Carleton University. I'm not sure about University of Ottawa, where you have this linkage to industry, and we might want to share into that. Over.
Yeah, I mean, you've covered it all, but I just again, probably reiterating what Joe just said, graduate students can really can take part in the advancement of PEO by participating actively in the chapter, committees, the task forces, the special interest groups, right? And Joe mentioned a whole bunch like entrepreneurship, there's sustainability, there's a lot of committees and subgroups related to the areas of expertise that, depending on whatever grads program that they're in. Grad students can also seek out, collaboration through many events that we kind of host. And actually, if they're interested in planning one, they're more than welcome as well. We're always open having more volunteers join our committees. So definitely attend the seminars that are set up by the chapters, the workshops or that are organized. We have a lot of people that are actually who are students who want to do things within their universities. So we had actually someone from Ottawa U who joined at one point that wanted to do a lot of events within PEO and Ottawa U. We're always open to having people get creative and innovative. So if you're interested, do reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to have you join us for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. So I have a question to ask to Sana. So how can women in IT with CBSA can help international female engineers looking to work with the government, and how can PEN certifications help grow in that role?
I'm going to ask you to repeat that. It cut off for me. Repeat that one.
How can women in IT with CBSA can help international female engineers looking to work with the government, and how can PEN certification help grow in that role?
Within CBSA, is that what I heard?
Yeah.
So, in interest of, I would love to answer that offline because it's going to be a little. This is more of a PEO kind of topic. However, whoever asked that question, I'll be more than happy to connect offline and discuss that further. Probably in interest of time and having this all be related to licensing, we'll stick to the PEO aspect since I'm here to represent PEO, not CBSA at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So we have a question from a student like, does applying for PEng does need a minimum of 4 years experience, include out of Canada work experience, or is it only optional?
No, it could be anywhere as long as you follow the rules in the application, which means where, what, the reference and all that. So they have removed the local. When Joe was saying for FACTA, the Fairness Commissioner, he was frustrated that foreign graduates their applications are not being processed quickly. So they came up with this, okay, you have experience overseas, not a problem. I still see a bit of a problem. So you have to follow the rules in the application. Just, check it off, check off one less, and stay with it. It actually is a positive in one sense, that is made a lot easier. But you have to do a bit of a hard work on that. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? Somebody was saying, I'm new. What was that?
I think you addressed it on that question about the 4 years experience. There are info notes on all this we can share with you. We keep saying FARPACTA. It's basically called the Fair Access to Regulated Professions and Compulsory Trades Act. You have to realize that the Ontario government allows professional engineers of Ontario to self-regulate, to determine what a professional engineer is and monitor their performance and ensure public safety. So they have these things called acts, which are laws. And I think in the interest of fairness to experience and looking at the mobility of individuals, they've removed the 1 year Canadian experience in the 4. And that's what Ishwar is saying, that you have to document the experience wherever it is.
Yeah, hope.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a movement. It's not related to our discussion, but there was a movement to make the uniform system across Canada, by Engineers Canada, but each province said they're better than the others, and so it hasn't really melted down. And I was talking to one of the licensing panel chair yesterday, and he was saying that that's the idea that he's floating to discuss with the Attorney General, but that's our Attorney General of Ontario. There are 10 other ones. It'll be really nice to have a uniform, 2 times 2 is equal to 4. And, when the building falls, it falls for the same reason as in New Brunswick, right? Or in Ontario. So my wish is that sometimes these politicians will listen to registrar, and whether our registrar, who takes a direction from the president and the council, takes it to the Attorney General. So it's a bit of, I just wanted to throw that as a frustration that I shared as well in my times.
Yeah. So we have a question like, as we are now student, any exams will be waived for us or not?
No.
I think you have to go to the ARC.
ARC.
We should not be, I think Sana and Joe and I, we are trying to give you a kind of overall view, but the specific one you have to deal with the headquarters, and they have a very qualified staff to answer those basic questions. Okay.
Yeah, but in general, students or professionals, they're all getting the same exams,
Yeah.
same everything. Nothing gets waived. And I don't know if there are exceptions. There could be, based on case by case, but the majority,
Yeah.
it's that's how it is.
Yeah. One other thing, I'm seeing some message coming on the board that is there any certification process? When engineers from overseas, they're given high hopes. Canada's a great country, go. So they think Engineers Canada has reviewed their thing. They got the immigration point system, but they don't realize that it's not the done deal by Engineers Canada. It's the individual provinces. They hold a lot of power, and they have not made it very flexible. So there was somebody was sending me a message on the board. So please stick with the rules and work hard. Don't give up. I will be so unhappy when you guys have done so much work at the universities, and parents have spent so much money on you guys, and then you give up halfway through because you're discouraged or you didn't get connected, right? And it happens to us too in life, man. Many things that we aspire in life, sometimes we're not able to achieve, but you don't give up, right? It's a time to help each other out and connect you. So, okay, the headquarters is your guide. They have a good website. I don't know you guys have looked at it in a big way, all the templates and committees and in each department. So get yourself totally familiarized with that, and maybe a lot of the answers will come from there, But we are here to support you. If you get lost in the crowd, we can connect you
Yeah.
with those people.
Yeah, it would be great. So we have another question. Like, are there any engineering wise certifications that are helpful in our P.Eng application later?
I have to give you the bad news. No.
No.
You have to treat this as a license to practice engineering in Ontario.
Oh,
Project
okay.
management professional designation to manage projects, which I have, is a separate activity altogether. So because I have a PMP doesn't make me a better engineer.
Yeah.
If you want to get a motorcycle license, just because you have a driver's license for a car doesn't help. There are two distinct things. So that's just, we're going to give you answers. You may not like them all, but they're going to give you answers as best we know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the certification process, Tareen, is done through the headquarter, department, right? Licensing department. So, how do you certify? That's a question. Certification of courses, they will give you some credit, but it may not be directly to the P.Eng. It's more for professional development after you've done the P.Eng. Some of the PMP courses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know PMP gives you any credit for licensing. I'm not sure. Unless you can demonstrate, you work under a company boss and you applied those skills and, all that stuff. So not a theoretical one, it has to be practical.
Sorry, I think someone had their hand up for a while.
Yeah, Aditya. Aditya, you can ask a question.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for your time and sharing this relevant information. My question is basically regarding just double checking the process, the entire process of P.Eng certification. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So it starts with the application, and once it's approved, we get our assessment application as in the NPP exam, right? And once we are done with that, that's when we'll know if our license is granted, and then we have to pay the fees. And is that it? Is this the flow?
So okay, I'll summarize everything for you. Okay, so pretty much you do the exams. There's ethic exam, and then there's law exam, and you pay to get the exams for each. If you end up failing one of them, you get to repeat that one again separately. You don't have to do the two again. Okay, and you submit your experiences. You can do that before, during, or after you're done the exams. It doesn't matter. The key is to have those two exams completed and passed, and the experience of 4 years, one under supervision of professional engineer, submitted, highlighting the engineering and design work that you've done. Okay, and then once you submit all of those, you'll have a group or committee that will look at it and decide if, in addition to you passing the exams, if you qualify for the license. And if not, they'll come back to you and specify why, or maybe you need to kind of reword things or change your experience up a bit. Okay. Once if it's an okay and everything's great, you get the congratulations, we're processing your license and all of that, and then you end up paying like $600 some, I think, the first time, for being a new licensed engineer, and you'll get a certificate. Now, what your chapter will do, like the Ottawa chapter here, we're having an annual general meeting coming up soon, where we give new members who are new licensed professional engineers their certificates, and we give them a nice dinner and congratulate them in a group setting with everybody there. We can invite counselors, we can invite people different from professionals across the city to attend and join as well. So this is the summary of the whole process. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much. So basically, there is this fees at the end for licensing, but initially we have to pay the fees for the exams as well, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
There's two different things. Yes.
And as you mentioned, if we retake the exams in any case, then we have to pay the fees again.
Correct. Now let's say, for
Okay.
example, I don't remember exactly. Let's say each exam was $200-$300. Let's, for example, I really don't remember. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Let's say you failed. I don't want to say you failed. Let's say I failed the law, right? And I did both exams. Let's say I failed law. I'll only pay the $200 exam, not the 400 total that I paid, because it's just the law aspect. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay,
yeah,
understood.
and
And
they're both
so,
done on
all-
day. Yeah, sorry, go
and these
ahead.
exams are basically just covering the law and ethics professionalism part. Nothing on the engineering front.
No, it's basically law and ethics, and there's a lot of material out there in books that could help you prepare.
There's
Okay.
also a preparatory exam session that OSPI puts together and provides. They have someone walk you through the thinking behind these exams, because it's not knowledge based, it's applicable to, you know, ethical type decisions you have to make on really difficult situations. You know, I had a situation where a guy asked me to sign off on drawings because he was building a play structure for a recreational camp for children, and he needed a P.Eng stamp. And it's like, what do you do? Well, he could be his friend and sign off, and he'll get the application. But then, not only if a child gets hurt or killed, uh, is the guy who did it in trouble, but you are as well. And then the association says, well, you applied, you did something you weren't supposed to. So you get asked these kinds of questions, which you wouldn't encounter normally. It's that extra 1% of the time you might get encountered. And I think if you reading the material is one thing, but you might want to consider taking these preparatory courses in it. And
Yeah.
of course, at undergraduate level, I understand, Mr. Carlton, they did have a PPE course, but when you're in the shoes of a student and you've got a workload that's up to your ears, this is pretty boring stuff, man. It's not real. And so I think when you're complete and you have a goal to take the preparatory exam with the material, it might help.
Yes.
It depends on your comfort
Definitely.
level.
Yes. Yep. Thank you so much. So, just let me just wanted to have this clarification. Regardless of any discipline you have in your previous graduate degree, be it computer science or civil or mechanical or electrical, the format for test is exactly same for all engineers, right?
Yes,
Okay.
everybody.
And the validity for this license is like lifetime.
Yeah, as long as you're practicing, and that's a whole other.
Okay.
Oh, Joe,
No, I
you want
mean,
to go into
let's
the
say,
joke?
no, let's say I have a
Yeah,
P.Eng license, and then I also get my CMC license, and I
yeah.
enter in consulting. But few years down the line, I switch back to some professional roles in engineering. So how would that uh, license validity stand out for me? Like, will it still be retained, or I will lose it once I get my CMC license, for example?
No, you don't lose it. But as of last year, it's going to get, this year, it'll be more complicated in that in the old days, you just pay your $299.95 HST included, and you'd have your license. Or you could say, I'm not practicing engineering, but I'd like to maintain my designation of P.Eng. So you pay a reduced fee, but you're promising not to practice engineering. You might be retired or a different career. You could ask for that. And then when you come back to engineering, you could say, I'd like to reinstate it as a practicing engineer, and they'll make you pay the fee. If you're a practicing engineer, you're going to have to do a self-assessment on your work that you do and do what they call continuing education during the year. And it doesn't mean formal courses. It could be mean informal coursing, mentoring, providing guidance. So in your case, if you're going to leave the profession, you might want to go for a fee remission by saying, I want to keep my P.Eng designation, but I'm taking a break, a sabbatical for X number of years. You pay this minimum. And when you come back, you say, I'm practicing now, and then you can start again. It doesn't go away. That's one good thing about the P.Eng.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Great questions.
Yeah. So, is there anyone who wants to know anything? Do you have any question? I can ask my like last question to you. Like, What challenges do we, like graduate students, commonly face in this process of obtaining these professional engineer certificates, and how does like PEO address this challenge? So this is my question.
Well, put it to you this way: PEO is not your friend. It's got a job to make sure that licensed engineers do engineering properly for the safety of public. Where you take it upon yourself is, and that's why a lot of people volunteer in the chapters, is imagine it's an opportunity to work with people with different views, argue things, different opinions, a place where you can make a mistake and you won't get fired or you won't get disciplined because
Yeah.
and that's where you get to hone the things of language. It's very important these days to be able to, and that's what you find in the application, is describe things that you do. You know, you say, yes, I was a project manager of an installation of a container on a container ship. He goes, yeah, so what? And then you come up and you say, well, I was purchasing 100 new containers for an environmental controlled product, a medical thing, and I have to now assess the conditions that the ship's going to have to go through by studying these charts, consulting various types of research places, and then I have to look at structural aspects to make sure the container won't collapse under snow loads, for instance, wave action. How do I isolate the shock and vibration of vessels because they do vibrate in the water? And that's the kind of explanation of the details, not the actual mathematical equations that you applied, but the considerations you did to make sure that you accomplished what your job is. Right now we have
Yeah.
standards, and you know, like the books you find, the SAE books, they tell you if I want to design a railway wheel, use this kind of material, this dimension, etc., all standardized. It's when you are on the edge and someone asks you in your company, I want to make this railway wheel last longer than its fatigue life that was calculated 25 years ago because I want to, you know, stretch it, be, you know, economically. Then that's when you apply your engineering to look at the load effects, fatigue, and spalling effects on the material. Maybe do some non-destructive and destructive testing on samples to come up with a conclusion whether it's good or not. So you see, it's the application of science and engineering that they're looking for. And how do you express that in language is a good thing. And we say volunteer. Yeah, we like to see all kinds of fresh ideas and faces, but it's also, you know, I like the idea is you get the feedback and say, I don't get it. Explain it to me better. And bottom line is explain to a friend of mine's wife who's an engineer. She says, stop talking in ones and zeros and you know, absolutes and not absolutes. There's a gray area which we have to communicate and explain things, and that's part of the growing aspect of it all. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any question? Maybe no. Maybe I guess we can wrap up this session. It's already 10, 8:20. So, Maisha, do you want to say something?
No, I think it's good to go. Yeah, like everyone asked all the questions, so we can wrap up the session. And yeah, like the
Yeah.
event was really helpful for all of us. So yeah, Tarin, you can actually
Yeah.
wrap up the session.
Yeah, so I want to thank you and express our sincere gratitude to our guest speakers for sharing your expertise and insights with us today about the PEO. This valuable contribution will really helpful for us, and we really appreciate your time and knowledge. And thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you so much for having us. It was really fun. For those who have questions, reach out to the Ottawa at peo.on.ca. That's our email
Yeah.
address. Reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want to connect and ask questions as well. I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, thanks again for organizing it. For all those who organized, thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, all of you.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
You
Bye.
too.